Hello, the Bible says that our bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit. Therefore, we need to keep a healthy body habitable for the dwelling of the Spirit of God. Join me this and every Wednesday on this show, The Health Booth, exclusively on Heavenbound Television as we discuss Your Matters Health. Remember, Your Matters Health matters to us. Welcome back, our viewers, to our second part of our show, Health Booth. And before we go ahead to discuss the second part of this show, I'd like our Daktari to respond to some of the issues that are raised by our guest parents.
Thank you, John, for this moment for us to perhaps ask Kimemia or prepare Kimemia as much as he says that he's ready for the next pregnancy. This is now the moment for us to really know how prepared one is supposed to be before conception. First of all, I'm not addressing Kimemia, I'm addressing all of us, especially those who are viewing, that you need to plan this pregnancy. By planning this pregnancy, planning for conception, I mean that if you are taking, for example, family planning pills, or you are on a contraception method, you need now to stop using that contraception for you to get pregnant. Secondly, you need to know the kind of diet that you need to take. This does not mean any special diet for one to get pregnant, but it means eating healthy. You need to eat a balanced diet, but together with that, with the 3 classes of foods, you need to remember the nutritional, the other supplements that are required, mineral supplements, especially folic acid, which can be bought from the chemists or it can be gotten from cereals that one needs to eat, because there is about 400 micrograms of daily requirement for folic acid as one prepares for pregnancy, because it will be important during pregnancy for one to have enough supply of folic acid. Okay. Another point that you need to be aware of is prevention of sexually transmitted diseases. Some of the sexually transmitted diseases which may be there before you conceive will affect the pregnancy. So if one has such like diseases, they need to be taken care of before they can conceive. Okay. Another thing that one needs to look at is, for example, if one is a smoker or an alcoholic or takes alcohol. Okay. These are things that need to be worked on. You stop these habits before pregnancy if you are expecting to have a healthy pregnancy. Another thing is perhaps where you're working with chemicals. Maybe you're working in an industry, and some of these chemicals become toxic to the pregnancy. So you need maybe to take some time off your workplace or be deployed in a department that you deal less with the chemicals, because you need to avoid these chemicals since they may affect the pregnancy. Okay. Another thing is about your state of mind. Okay. The state of mind is also important. One has to be at peace with themselves and with the husband or with the spouse. Okay. So you need to avoid violence in the family so that you are calm. You are in good state of mind as you prepare to get pregnant. Okay. I think maybe we tend to forget, and I need to highlight this, that some of the family histories, especially health family histories, need to be actually thought of, because some of these end results of the pregnancies, children are born with some of the diseases that are run in families. So if you never knew that perhaps a particular condition is running in a family, then you get a child who has that condition, you may not be sure, you may not be prepared to handle such like a condition when it comes up. Again, if you're not so sure about your state of health, it is good that you go for a health checkup and talk to your doctor or physician and tell them that I'm preparing to get pregnant. Okay. So is there anything special that I need to put in consideration before I conceive? So those are some of the issues that one needs to look at before they get pregnant. It's not just about the man or the wife saying that now our last born is now this age and we need to get another one, or pressuring each other for another baby or another pregnancy. All right. Thank you.
If I may go back to the first point that you raised about taking folic acid before a pregnancy while you're preparing for pregnancy, are there implications that may occur if somebody doesn't take the folic acid?
Yes,
Okay.
there are some implications that will occur. Folic acid is specifically important for the formation of the brain
Okay.
and the nervous system of
Okay.
the baby.
Okay.
So if you have enough supply during pregnancy,
Okay.
you are sure that your baby will be born without defects affecting their nervous system.
Ah.
Especially the brain will be formed properly
Okay.
and maturely.
Okay.
And also the rest of the nervous system, including the spinal cord,
Yeah.
it's also important during its formation that
Okay.
folic acid be there in enough supply.
Oh.
So as you prepare to get pregnant, take this folic acid, and again during the pregnancy,
Okay.
you shall be encouraged to continue taking folic acid, especially in the first months of pregnancy, during
Okay.
the formation of this organ, the brain and the spinal cord.
Oh,
Yes.
very, very important. At this particular time, or there's an issue that is emerging on teenage pregnancy. It's actually a national concern while we're talking about Kenya. And that's why in this second part, I would like us to delve on the issue of age with the help of our doctor, so that we understand, is there a particular age where one is ready, maybe mentally, maybe body-wise, for them to handle pregnancy? Because so many little girls, as young as 9 and 10 years, they are getting pregnant, and it's an issue that concerns all of us. I would like doctor to explain to us, when we talk about age, is there a specific age for one to maybe get pregnant?
Yes, there is not a particular age as in number,
Okay.
but there is that period where one can be seen as mature enough
Okay.
to get pregnant.
Okay.
And just as you have already said that teenage pregnancy is an issue, there are so many health impacts on a teenager who gets pregnant.
Okay.
And maybe in another program we shall be talking about the same. But let me say that in the first place, I wouldn't imagine a teen who is married. I began by saying that we are talking about a society that is sober.
Okay.
So we are talking about a teenager who is getting pregnant. I want to believe this teenager is not even married in the first place. Secondly, if they are now getting pregnant, is their body really prepared to carry the pregnancy and the stresses that come with pregnancy? They are not prepared.
Okay.
You need to remember that there is this period that we call menarche. Menarche is the first time that a girl, a baby girl or a girl child receives her first periods.
Okay.
This is an indicator that if this child has unprotected sex,
Yes.
it is possible for them to get their ova
Okay.
fertilized, and
Okay.
therefore they will conceive.
Okay.
So this menarche sets in early in some children and later in others.
Okay.
So it can come as early as 9 years. So we can't say that a 9-year-old,
Okay.
by the fact that they can get their ova fertilized,
Yes.
they are now ready to carry a pregnancy.
Okay.
Therefore, we need to be careful that we encourage our youth or the teenagers
Okay.
to physically get prepared. Matters to do with maturity of the whole body,
Yes.
as opposed to just getting the ova ready for fertilization.
Okay.
Therefore, I would say that perhaps from age 20, 22 and above, it
Okay.
is good to, it is a mature body that can handle pregnancy.
Okay.
However, having said that, I also to caution those who are conceiving for the first time,
Okay.
that again, delaying pregnancy so much that you are an elderly, we call them elderly primigravida. A person who is conceiving for the first time is called a primigravida.
Yeah.
Now, again, suspending pregnancy for too long
Okay.
and coming to conceive at a later age, perhaps 35, it is a little bit too late, because now the body has already started losing some of its abilities and some of its vibrance, and therefore it is good that again you don't delay that pregnancy too much. Now, talking about a subsequent pregnancy, maybe you had a previous pregnancy and now you want to conceive for the second time. I would say that we need to be reminded that immediately 6 weeks after one has delivered, again the body resumes its normal cycles, and one can conceive. So it is also not so good for one to conceive 6 weeks after a delivery. So you need again to delay so that the whole body recovers from the stresses that underwent while carrying the previous pregnancy. And maybe let me say that I could say that if you delayed this the second pregnancy or subsequent pregnancy for about 18 months, then you are fully recovered. The one you gave birth to has now grown a little bit, and they can handle maybe certain different kinds of food as opposed to exclusive breastfeeding, and therefore you can now consider another pregnancy.
Okay. Mr. Kimemia told us there are 2 and counting. Would you like give us the age of your last born?
Yeah, my last born is 6 years old.
Okay.
And as per now,
Okay.
I'm very sure that he is capable of feeding himself,
Okay.
going to school,
Okay.
and he can perform
Okay.
so many things for himself.
Okay.
So he is comfortable,
Okay.
even in the house, doing 1, 2, 3 in the house.
Okay.
He's dependent to himself.
Okay.
So there is no stress if the third born comes.
So, Daktari is referring to now the age of the child. So, in terms of the age or the duration that they have stayed before conceiving, so is it now that way it's okay for them to go ahead?
I would say that at 6 months, at 6 years, that is an appropriate age.
Okay.
And just as I had said earlier, that 18 months gap in between one child and another is reasonable enough.
Okay.
So at 6 years,
Okay.
I tend to believe that that is okay. But however, let me caution my friend that again, let it not be that you are also aging and you want your wife to conceive at 45 and maybe she's getting to menopause. You have delayed this pregnancy so much that she's aging, she's also aging, and you want her to conceive so please again remember it is good to give birth when you are still vibrant and every other organ is still very vital.
Okay, very important. That marks the end of our second part. So make sure that you catch us up in our third part. See you after a moment.